My name is Elara Reeves, and on my 20th birthday, my father handed me something that looked suspiciously like a gift. Smooth envelope neatly creased my name, written in his careful handwriting. For 2 whole seconds, I let myself believe it might be something warm for once. A letter, a card, maybe even a tiny apology wrapped in paper. It wasn't. Inside was a one-way airline voucher from a youth restoration and behavioral assistance program, the kind states use for troubled teens who need a structured relocation. Only I wasn't troubled. I wasn't unstable. I wasn't any of the things that program was meant for. I was simply unwanted. My father slid his coffee mug forward, not looking at me as he said, "It's time you learned to stand on your own. They'll help you figure yourself out. Your flight leaves this afternoon." My sister Brielle smirked over her pancakes like this was entertainment. My mother kept chewing, eyes lowered, pretending she didn't see me break. Something inside me went quiet. Not shattered, just silent. A kind of silence I hadn't felt before. The kind that doesn't beg, doesn't cling, doesn't ask why. I folded the voucher. "Okay," I said, surprising myself with how steady I sounded. "I can leave today." No one stopped me. No one asked where I would go. No one asked if I was scared. They didn't know the truth, not the version of me they'd spent years diminishing. They didn't know that the girl they were pushing out the door was the only mind behind the core security architecture running half the digital infrastructure of Denver. They didn't know that what they were throwing away was someone the rest of the world was just about to discover. I didn't pack much. A few clothes, my old laptop, the notebook I'd filled with diagrams since I was 16, and the tiny flash drive that held everything that ever mattered to me. I moved quietly through the house, not because I wanted to hide, but because I didn't want to hear anyone pretend they cared. When I stepped outside, the air felt different, sharper, almost cleansing. I walked down the driveway with my backpack slung over one shoulder, waiting for something inside me to crack open. Anger. Fear. Sadness. Nothing came, just that same unsettling calm. The bus station was nearly empty when I arrived. A woman behind the counter scanned my voucher without reaction, as if she processed kids like me every day. "Gate 4. Leaves in 15, she said. I nodded and stepped aside. My phone buzzed. A video call Aiden Cole. His face appeared immediately framed by the messy brown curls he never bothered to tame. "Elara, tell me you're okay." I swallowed, forcing my voice to steady. "I'm fine. I'm leaving sooner than planned." He studied me for half a second, and I knew he saw straight through the lie. What did they do this time? I glanced at the voucher in my hand. Something helpful, apparently. His jaw tightened. "Elara, listen to me. You're not alone. You have a place here. You have a team. You have—" "I know." And for the first time that morning, something warm pressed against the cold inside me. He exhaled. "I'll meet you at Union Station. Just text me before your arrival." When the bus pulled in, I climbed aboard without looking back. The seat was stiff, the window scratched, but as the engine hummed to life, a strange feeling washed over me. Freedom wrapped in the thinnest layer of fear. Hours later, as the city skyline of Denver rose in the distance, my chest tightened in a way that wasn't painful, just unfamiliar. Hope. Maybe. Aiden was waiting just outside the station, waving both arms like an idiot, until I saw him. The moment I reached him, he pulled me into a quick, grounding hug. "You're safe now," he murmured. For the first time that day, I believed him. Aiden drove us straight to the shared workspace where the team had been living on caffeine and late-night code for months. The building wasn't impressive from the outside, just another repurposed warehouse tucked between breweries and small art studios. But inside it hummed with warmth, noise, and possibility. It felt alive in a way my childhood home never had. The moment we stepped in, Jamie spun around in her chair. "The architect is here," she announced dramatically. I winced. "Please don't call me that." "But you are," she insisted, rolling her chair over. "You built Sentinel's core. Respect the legend." I shook my head, but a small smile slipped through. Their energy was chaotic, intense, and unapologetically genuine. Aiden gave me a soft look as if he could tell I needed that more than he could ever say. He guided me to a small room they'd set up for me, a desk, a lamp, and shelves full of hardware and test devices. My notebook fit right in as if it had been waiting for this place. As I traced my fingers along the desk surface, Aiden leaned against the doorframe. Tomorrow's big, he said. A chill ran through me. The investment hearing. He nodded. The board wants full transparency. They know Sentinel has unmatched breach detection, but now they want to know who wrote the spine of it. They want to meet you. I sank into the chair. I thought we agreed my name stays off everything. We did, he said gently. But they're pushing. They need assurance. And you deserve to be recognized. Recognition, a word that felt foreign on my skin. I stared at my hands. Knowing something and being ready to say it publicly were two different things. My family had spent years convincing me my work meant nothing, that I meant nothing. The idea of standing in a room full of powerful people claiming my code, my creation, it made my pulse skip. Aiden stepped closer. Elara, you don't have to decide tonight. Just breathe, settle in, and know that whatever you choose, we've got you. I exhaled slowly, letting the weight of his words ground me. For the first time, the possibility of stepping into the light didn't terrify me. It tempted me. The first night in Denver should have felt like escape, but sleep never came. I lay awake listening to the faint hum of servers downstairs, my phone buzzing with reminders of the life I'd just left. At 1:12 a.m., my father texted, "The house is calmer without you." 5 minutes later, Brielle. Dad finally made the right call. Don't embarrass us. By morning, my mother added her message, soft, apologetic, still manipulative. I wish you'd tell us where you're staying. Your father worries. Maybe come home soon. Come home. A command dressed as concern. I didn't respond. Instead, I went to the workspace kitchen where Aiden was making coffee. He paused when he saw me. Rough night. They know I left, I murmured. He handed me a mug, standing beside me without pressing for details. The silence felt gentle for once. Later that afternoon, as the team prepared slides for the investment hearing, a new notification flashed. Co-founder verification required. All technical contributors must appear in person. My stomach dropped. Aiden looked over. They sent it. I nodded. This is normal, he said. They need proof Sentinel's core wasn't bought or stolen. If I show up, everything becomes public, I whispered. My name, my work, my past. Aiden met my eyes. Elara, hiding only protects the people who tried to shrink you. Something in me shifted, fear maybe, but also something stronger. I realized if I kept running, my family would always own a piece of me, and I was finally done letting them. The morning of the hearing arrived colder than I expected. Denver's air had that crisp bite that wakes you up faster than caffeine. I stood in front of the mirror in the small workspace bathroom, smoothing the front of the navy blouse Jamie insisted I borrow. You need something that says, "I build empires, don't talk down to me," she'd said. I didn't feel like someone who built empires. Not yet. Aiden waited by the door with his keys in hand. When our eyes met, he offered a small, steadying smile. Ready? No, I admitted, but I'm going anyway. The drive downtown felt unreal. Glass buildings shimmered in the morning sun. Traffic hummed and people moved with purpose. I pressed my palm against the cool window and breathed slowly. This wasn't just a meeting. It was the first room where I'd have to claim myself out loud. The hearing building towered above us, all steel and reflective panels. As we approached, my phone buzzed again. A sinking feeling hit me before I even looked. Father, we saw your name on a public notice. If you embarrass this family, don't come back. A blade disguised as a sentence. I locked the screen and slipped the phone into my bag. Inside, the conference hall buzzed with quiet conversation, investors, analysts, cybersecurity experts. A massive screen displayed the Cipher Nova Innovation Review hearing. My throat dried instantly. When our startup's name was called, Aiden walked beside me, matching his steps with mine like a silent anchor. A panelist adjusted his glasses. We're here to verify authorship of Sentinel's primary security framework. Mr. Cole, you've claimed the core was developed internally. Aiden nodded. Yes, by our lead architect. And who is that? Every eye turned to me. My heartbeat thundered in my ears. For a split second, old fears clawed up my spine. Memories of Brielle mocking my worthless hobbies, my father laughing whenever I mentioned coding the way every achievement of mine was dismissed as luck. But then I remembered something else. Those nights I stayed awake rewriting algorithms, the breakthrough that saved Sentinel during its first attack simulation. The hours I gave the brilliance I earned the identity that was mine. I lifted my chin. I wrote it, I said. All of it. A ripple moved through the room. Surprise, respect, recalculation. For the first time in my life, I wasn't hiding. I was stepping forward. The silence after my admission shattered quickly. Pens clicking tablets, swiping panelists, scanning their screens as if trying to reconcile my face with the architecture they'd studied for months. A woman finally leaned forward. "Miss Reeves, you're saying the entire Sentinel Core anomaly detection, adaptive firewall logic, predictive breach mapping was written solely by you?" "Yes," I said, steady, certain. Aiden slid the documentation across the table. Commit histories, encrypted logs, time-stamped drafts, all under her name. Skepticism shifted into recognition as they scrolled every breakthrough, every system choice traced back to me. Someone whispered, "This is genius-level structuring." A quiet, controlled pride warmed my spine. The lead panelist asked, "Why wasn't your name publicly linked to the project?" I exhaled slowly. I preferred privacy. And I wasn't in an environment where my work was encouraged. They understood without needing more. Then my phone buzzed violently inside my purse. "Brielle, is this some kind of joke you wrote that Father—" "Stop this nonsense immediately." "Mother, please, Elara. People are talking." The familiar ache tried to surface, so I powered the phone off. The panel continued. "Miss Reeves, based on this evidence, the board grants you full authorship recognition under federal IP protection, effective immediately." Applause, real applause. Aiden nudged me gently. "You did this, not them." I swallowed the emotion, tightening my throat. "Thank you." When we stepped into the corridor, camera flashes lined the hall. Reporters angled for quotes for any piece of me they could capture. And for the first time, they weren't looking past me, they were looking to me. Somewhere miles away, my family was watching everything they discarded turn into something undeniable, untouchable. Mine. The hallway outside the hearing room felt brighter. Maybe from the polished lights, maybe from the weight lifting off my chest step by step. Reporters lingered near the exit, murmuring as Aiden guided me past. No one shoved a mic at me, they just watched, curious and respectful. Strange, but welcome. In the lobby, I finally exhaled. Aiden asked, "How are you feeling?" I thought carefully, like I just took my name back. His small, warm smile said everything. "You earned it." Outside Denver glowed under late afternoon sun. We headed toward the rideshare lane, but my phone buzzed again, relentless. "Father. Come home. We need to talk before this gets worse. Mother. Please return before the neighbors hear more." "Brielle, unbelievable. Acting like you're someone important." "Father again. This family won't be humiliated by you." Every message was a hand trying to yank me backward. I turned the phone off. Aiden's voice softened. "Elara, you don't owe them access." "I know, and for the first time I really did." Back at the workspace, the team erupted cheers, hugs, cupcakes pressed into my hands. The attention didn't crush me this time. I even laughed. Truly laughed. Truly. Hours later, when the building quieted, I slipped onto the rooftop. Denver stretched beneath me, bright, humming, full of possibility. Wind brushed through my hair as I closed my eyes. For the first time in 20 years, the world didn't feel heavy. I wasn't the girl sent away. I wasn't the problem. I wasn't a burden. I was the architect of something extraordinary. I was free. And I was done apologizing for existing. Night settled over Denver like a soft blanket of blue, wrapping the city in a glow that felt gentler than anything I'd known growing up. I stayed on the rooftop long after the chill crept into my sleeves, letting the lights below flicker like constellations I could finally reach. For the first time, the future didn't feel like something I had to survive. It felt like something I could shape. I pulled out my phone not to turn it on, but to look at the blank screen. No buzzing, no commands, no guilt-tripped paragraphs disguised as concern. Just silence. Clean, liberating silence. I slipped it back into my pocket and looked up at the sky. Downstairs, the team was still celebrating. Aiden had left a note on my desk before heading out. "You don't have to go back to what hurt you to prove you've grown." He was right. My family taught me what it felt like to be small. Denver taught me I never was. The hearing had made everything official, but standing here breathing in the cold night air was the moment it became real. I wasn't running anymore. I wasn't hiding. I wasn't fighting for scraps of approval from people who never bothered to see me. I was choosing myself. The city lights shimmered as if nodding in agreement. They tried to exile me, they tried to silence me, they tried to break me. Instead, they became the reason I rose. And I wasn't done rising yet.